Hello out there, everyone in the Facebook world and YouTube land. I'm back with another project, and this is basically the Black Beauty and Black Essence to show you just how beautiful and how wonderful you are and how much of a great thinker you are. I'm going to give you some inventions that were stolen from us, over a period of time. We never knew because school doesn't teach this. And I'm going to start off by saying the cotton gin. The cotton gin wasn't invented by Eli Whitney. It was stolen from a slave that he owned named Black Slam. Yeah, that's who created the cotton gin and the condensing light, Lewis Latimer, and just as well as the telephone. And these inventions were credited to Alexander Graham Bell and what's my guy name? Thomas Edison. Yeah, these are the two guys who got the credit for these two inventions, but Lewis Latimer designed the blueprints for them. All they did was got someone to put in the work for the labor, but he designed the blueprints and he knew the creation too. He knew how to create these things. The railway telegraph, Granfield, Grainfield T. Woods. Yeah, he was the inventor of this also, and there is there is an African American male named Dr. Mark Dean who has and owns the patent to the first computer chip that made computers operate. They didn't teach us that. And he is called the father of the internet. Philip Mwagli created the connection for multiple computers to communicate with each other. And many of the white slave owners didn't want to go to the doctor. They would ask for the big mama of the of the plantation, or the black voodoo woman who healed with herbs that she grew, like those natural remedies. Those are from our ancestors, all your natural remedies. That's why they're not really alive today. It's always shoved something down your throat. Hockey started back in ancient Kemet, a group of black men who were from Nova Scotia, Canada. There were black hockey teams who have never been mentioned. There is a book called Black Ice that talks about this story. And the baddest cowboy to ever live was not no Billy the Kid, John Wayne, and all these other people. It wasn't them. It was a black guy named Baz Reeves. That's where those stories were derived from. And in Django was somewhat a partial of his story in the mixture of Nat Turner. Yeah. And here are some black inventions that were stolen, or they were basically took from up under these. They didn't really get any rights, so they didn't see no proceeds from the invention, but it was stolen from them. And the first one is going to be, there was a black woman named Nancy Green. Yeah, that's her face on the Aunt Jemima box of grits, oatmeal, pancakes, or whatever the case may be. A guy came up to her and asked her to use her face. And seeing that she was a black woman, she couldn't own no rights to nothing anyway. So yeah, he put her face on that. It was basically like a slap in the face because at first they didn't call it, Aunt Jemima. They called it Aunt Jemima's slave in the kitchen cooking, and they came up with several other different, replicas of this, to basically just to mock the black. They didn't call him a nanny back then. That was when the nanny came along. They used to call him the black mammy of the whoever the white slave owners owned. She called it the black mammy. And Uncle Ben Rice, a guy named Frank Brown, he was a waiter. A white guy came up to him and said, "Hey man, I'll give you $50 if you let me use your face on the front of my product." When he used his face on the front of the product, that was the basically, man, that was the transpiring of Uncle Ben Rice. And we love Uncle Ben Rice because it has one of our own on the front. But we don't own any of it though. It just had one of our own. So $50 turned into a multi-billion-dollar corporation. Jack Daniels. The Jack Daniels liquor, it was actually stole from a black guy named Nearest Green, and Jack Daniels actually tells the truth about this in his biography. And none of Nearest Green's family own any rights to this to the Jack Daniels. They own no rights. They have no patents. They don't get any proceeds from it, but they came out with their own brand of it called Nearest Green, so make sure you're supporting the right person. Yeah, but Jack Daniels is actually a good drink. I can't knock it though. KFC, and I love KFC, and I like Colonel Sanders' story as far as his don't quit, never give up determination story of achieving his goal and getting his franchises. But did you know he bought that? Well, he kind of sort of stole it, but he bought it in a way too. He gave her $1,200 for her recipe, and there was basically nothing she could do, seeing that a black woman's word against a black man's word, and the black woman name was Miss Childress. I couldn't research enough to find out her first name, but KFC recipe came from a black woman named Miss Childress. And he paid her $1,200 for it. And back in that time, $1,200 was actually somewhat decent money. Yeah, because you can still buy something for, a dollar or two, something that's kind of sort of value. Probably bought a shirt or a pair of pants, paid a couple bills, paid up bills or whatever back then. But yeah, that's where that recipe comes from. But I like Colonel Sanders' story, but that's why we love it so much, because it's a recipe of our own. Let me tell you some more inventions that we don't get credit for in school, doesn't teach. A black woman named Sarah Boone invented the ironing board. Alexander Miles, he invented the electrical elevator doors, because people kept falling and hurting themselves when they had to pull them open and close. Philip Downey invented the mailbox, so people wouldn't have to continuously keep walking back and forth to the post office. Shirley Ann Jackson created the caller ID and the call waiting. And she is one of the first blacks to receive a PhD. So we are intelligent also. John Ernest Mellinger, Mellinger, he created the lasting shoe machine, to where you can make more than one pair of shoes in a day. That's why shoes were set at such a high price, and when he came out with it, they were set at a reasonable price. And Charles Richard Drew, he created the large scale blood banks. Yeah, like he was the first person to start like your blood banks and the plasma centers and all that. And people laugh at people that go and do that. You have to actually be in good and decent shape to even donate. That's give blood out to get plasma. Yeah. Uh, but a black person started that. And Frederick Jones, the portable cooling unit. Yeah, this is the guy who created the units and the thermostats and all that stuff that you see in your freezers and your refrigerator. That's the guy who created that. Yeah, so we are intelligent and beautiful people. And the Underground Railroad established colonies so that blacks could protest itself. Buffalo, New York was founded by a black guy named Joe Hoggins. In Los Angeles, 44 black families came together and founded Los Angeles. One of the first governors of California was Pio Pico. There is a street named after him, Pio Boulevard. Biddy Mason was one of the wealthy landowners in early California. So we did have some type of, economical structure, some type of, something to build on, to pass on generationally. We're never taught that we ever had any, so we don't think to ever build any. And they thought slavery was only big in the South. One of the biggest slave plantations in history was in Brooklyn, New York. Did you know the first stocks and bonds sold on Wall Street were slaves, and the first slave was sold for tobacco? Yes. Wiley Jones was one of the profitable black railroad owners, and that still stands right now in Arkansas. Right now in Arkansas. And the Patterson Grove Company was founded by black men who were former slaves. It was said that their cars were better than Henry Ford Model T cars. And that just shows you guys, like, we had some type of structure, man. We were building something. We just don't believe that we ever had anything. We were working anything to be anybody, because we're not taught that in school. Or we were taught that we were slaves. And George Washington Carver created soybean to make glue, plastic, ink, paint. This was asked of him by the military. That just shows you how many different inventions he came up with just peanuts, soybean. He became a very great man with that one resource. And he said that plants used to talk to him. He said he can look at a plant and see what it can do for a family or for society, or for the world. And they had him castrated because he was so intelligent. They didn't want that kid to carry on generationally, because there would have been several more great inventors that would have followed after him. King Kong was created to humiliate a famous black boxer named Jack Johnson because he had sex with white women. And every time he won a boxing match, the next day they would go and lynch blacks. Yeah, they would go and hang, beat, and and kill blacks. And this is just some things. I've did this project before, and I had a few add-ons onto it. But this is Black beauty, man, and Black excellence. Like, we are beautiful, people, very intelligent people. We just don't never take it and exploit it, man, to its fullest potential because we don't feel like we deserve any. We're too busy focusing on all the other things that are not making us great, that are not building us up as people. Yeah, we go out and we do all the other crap. We're worried about iPhones, what's going on, keeping up with the Kardashians. Like, we focus on all the wrong things. See, back then, they stood together. That's how they was building so much stuff. They weren't backstabbing each other because they were all they had. See, now, we don't think in these terms. And it's still the same now. You just got more privilege, and you imagine how many people died for you to be where you at right now. For you to have the privileges that you have, and it seems you're taking it for granted. Everything Martin seen in his dream, you're taking it for granted. And everything Malcolm did by any means, we're taking it for granted. Now, you think about Rosa Parks, Harriet Tubman, like, and all these other slaves, man. That was basically just beaten, man, and then this is some of the good side of it, man. I didn't even speak on the bad, and there's plenty of the bad out there. I didn't even speak on the bad side of it. Like the beatings, the lynching, the beheading of our ancestors, letting their kids play with them like they're balls. Yeah. Letting the animals loose, letting the animals loose and come through it, man, and just basically just tear somebody into pieces. Yeah, if you really want to, and like, and burning and snipping off their genitals. Yeah, burning them in their faces, burning them with branding irons. Yeah, man, like it was some real serious lynchings back then, man. Taking them and putting metal in their faces and doing it while they're still alive. Till they do it until they die. Watch them bleed out, cutting their tongues out of their mouth. Like, this is the part that you don't know about. This is the good side. I'm speaking on the bad side. I just told you about the good side that they didn't teach you about. Yeah, that's what you don't supposed to know. That all you were supposed to know is you was a slave. You got all these harmful things did to your ancestors. The black Mexican black men were buck broken. And that's why they make these black guys wear dresses. Yeah. It's demasculating him. Taking away from his masculinity. Yeah, that's what they used to do and make him in front of slave owners. If that didn't get him, they came and they raped him in front of him. And beat him in front of his kids and other big, strong slaves to make them surrender. And I've said this in the past one also. This is Black History Month. We should just celebrate this only in February. We should celebrate this every day. Because we are beautiful people and we should learn to love one another how we should. But guys out there, man, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up, man. Everyone out there, be good, be careful, be safe, man. Maintain and keep the loves in your heart. Everyone out there, thank you guys for all the love, all of your likes, all of your shares, all of your views, man. And I want to thank each and every one of my essential workers out there. And I say the best for last, man. I want to give God the thanks for all of his glory, all of his grace, all of his mercy, man, all of his love. Just all of man, just all of his glory, his grace, his blessing, man, his favor upon his son. I'm thankful and grateful for all. And everyone out there, man, know thyself is to love thyself, man. Stay tuned. I got more to come. Thank you.